Hey, what's up soldiers? My name is GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be my review of Die Rise. Now, before I get into it, I want to let you guys know about a brand new series I'm bringing back here on the channel, and that is the Zombie Clips of the Week. So if you guys have any insane clutches, fails, funny moments, amazing RNG luck, anything like that, make sure to submit your clips. It's going to be the top link in the description. I'll give every single person a shout out that submits their clip and gets in the video, and it's just going to be a great thing that I can do every single week to kind of shed more light on the zombies community, and I can upload one of these during the week when there really isn't anything going on. So if you guys are interested in submitting your clips, make sure you do. It will be the top link in the description. Everyone thinks my zombies opinions are wrong, so I decided to take a step back and review each zombies map based off 20 categories. Each category is worth 5 points for a cumulative total of 100. This is a totally serious review, memes included. If you'd like to watch my previous reviews on all the World at War and Black Ops maps, as well as Nuketown and Transit, the playlist will be linked down below in the description. This is episode 13, Die Rise, the most vertical zombies map. Back on January 29, 2013, the first Black Ops 2 map pack was released called Revolution. It was released with the multiplayer maps Downhill, Grind, Mirage, and Hydro, and it also introduced the game mode Turned and the first ever DLC weapon, the Peacekeeper. Die Rise was the first map to take place on a skyscraper, setting it up to be distinctly different from the get-go. It had elements of verticality with broken down elevator shafts, upside down skyscrapers, and various areas to fall off the map when jumping across from building to building. Although there are mattresses bracing your fall most of the time, some areas are a lot easier to jump to than others, and it wasn't exactly the safest map ever. All perk machines and Pack-a-Punch were randomized across the various elevators in the main two skyscrapers, one being the spawn skyscraper and the other in which you can access the bank and fridge. You need to use the elevators to go from floor to floor in the skyscraper for the most part, but the major issue I have is needing to wait for the elevators. It also introduced a brand new perk called Who's Who. When you down, it spawns a doppelganger character in a nearby location with only a 1911 at your disposal. If you are able to revive the downed player, you will switch back to the downed player character and keep all the perks and guns you had, minus the Who's Who perk. Die Rise also introduced a brand new buildable wonder weapon called the Sliquifier. Although you need to craft this weapon with 4 various parts, they were not scattered all throughout the map like on Transit with the jet gun. They are only on the level of the build table and the floor above the build table, allowing for the wonder weapon to be built fairly quickly. If you shoot a shot directly at a zombie, it will kill it all the way up to round 100, making it an insanely effective weapon. You can also shoot at the ground, making a puddle of acid and cause players to slip and slide on it, and also zombies. Like the Wonder Waff, the Sliquifier can chain kill zombies in the same general area. At the launch of Die Rise, the Sliquifier could insta-kill zombies essentially forever until they released a patch nerfing the weapon. Although it was nerfed, it is still effective, but each shot simply does not last as long as it did before the patch. When you get the weapon, it has 50 shots, and if you end up losing the gun from training it out, not being able to revive yourself with Who's Who, or in a co-op game, you can get it again, but this time out of the mystery box, and it is fairly rare. Die Rise introduced a brand new buildable device called the Trample Steam, which can effectively fling zombies and players to different areas over a short distance. It needs 4 different parts to be built, and just like the Sliquifier, the parts are in the same general location, which is the spawn room and through the spawn door to the other side where the M14 wall buy is located. It can be built 2 floors below on the build table located there. There was also a brand new special round zombie introduced as well called Jumping Jacks. They look a lot like Nova Crawlers, but instead they jump around and can teleport. I will get more into that in the other sections of the video. Die Rise introduced a bunch of new features, and for that, I give the innovation a 5 out of 5. Die Rise has a fantastic atmosphere. It is exactly what you would expect after the Earth has been blown up by rockets from the moon. There are asteroids and fireballs flying all through the air, and also a bunch of smoke and fog in the distance. Die Rise also takes place during the day, so it's nice and bright, giving players positive vibes out on the rooftops of the skyscraper. When you are inside, however, you do not feel safe. Traversing through the tight corridors is unsettling and also gives off an eerie, somewhat creepy vibe. I love that Die Rise puts off different emotions wherever you are on the map. I think the atmosphere is a 5 out of 5, and Treyarch did a nice job with that. Instead of basing it off of my personal opinion, I did a poll on Twitter, and out of the 782 votes, the community decided that 2 out of 5 was the proper grade for the nostalgia of Die Rise. Die Rise is definitely not considered a fantastic map by some people, but there are still plenty of memories from people who started playing zombies in Black Ops 2 and bought the first DLC. There are no traps on Die Rise, unfortunately, so I will be excluding them from the overall rating. The only wonder weapon on Die Rise is the Sliquifier. The Sliquifier is made up of 4 different parts. These parts are a mannequin foot, gas canister, handbrake, wires and discs, and can be built on the crafting table underneath the power room. Like I already mentioned in the innovation section, it can one-shot kill zombies up to round 100 because it puts out 5.5 million damage per shot. It has 10 blasts per magazine and 40 in the reserve once built or obtained from the mystery box, and cannot be upgraded any further. There are many high round strategies used with the Sliquifier, and since you can get a special round every 4 to 5 rounds, ammo is usually not the biggest issue. The Galvanicles also appear on the map and can be obtained for 6,000 points in the rundown elevator shaft. Since the Sliquifier is such a great wonder weapon, I give Die Rise a 5 out of 5 for wonder weapons. There are special rounds on Die Rise that consist of jumping jacks. They are also known as leapers and minions in the game files. They can spawn for the first time between rounds 5 and 7, and then every 4 or 5 rounds after that. At the end of each special round, you will receive a max ammo reward. As an added bonus, you can also get a free perk if you have 100% accuracy during the special round. This is easiest to do with a melee weapon such as the Bowie knife or Galvanicles and not shoot during the round. Since you can get a free perk, I give the special rounds a 4 out of 5. There are a couple different transportation methods you can use on Die Rise. You have the ability to jump from one side of the skyscraper to the other as long as you land on the mattresses so you don't die. You can also use the trample steam to travel from the trample steam build table over to the tower, and there are a few other places you can place them as well. The last and final transportation method is the elevators. To be honest, they are terrible. Sometimes you need to wait for them to get in position so you can ride them, and then you have to worry about a zombie. If you save one at the end of the round and make it a crawler, it will die when you leave the general vicinity, and it's really annoying. Overall, for transportation methods, I give Die Rise a 2 out of 5. The elevators are probably the worst thing on this entire map, hands down. Most people don't play Die Rise to do the Easter egg. It is mostly for going for high rounds. To get set up, you want to make sure you have some money in the bank and a good gun like the AN-94 in the fridge, preferably Pack-a-Punch. Once you grab this and take out about 10,000 points, you can grab perks, turn on power, then make your way downstairs to build the Sliquifier. Then go up the elevator and to the tower and jump across. Then take an elevator up and grab the parts for the trample steam. Then you can grab the trample steam and decide where you want to go. I'll talk about methods for camping and training later on. The setup doesn't take too long, so I give it a 3 out of 5 overall. First, we're going to talk about the easy side of the Easter egg, which is the Richtofen side of the Easter egg. Both sides of the Easter egg require 4 players. Everyone needs to stand on a symbol located on the top of elevators around the map. Once this is complete, they will be lit up gold. Then you need to stand on other symbols that are located around the map in the correct order that is randomized every game. After this is complete, use an SVU sniper rifle to shoot the 2 balls out of the dragon's mouth. They will then go and be placed in the statue in the spawn room. Then you need to shoot your Sliquifier at the balls on both of the statues until they are both rotating. Once they are rotating, you need to grab a trample steam, and all players need to grab one and place them on the correct symbols with zombies on them, and then fling zombies at the tower. Once this is complete, you need to use galvanuckles to punch the corners of the pylon in the correct order, which is indicated by the mojang tiles all around the map. Once this is complete, each player will receive all 6 perks on the map. The max side of the Easter egg is similar for the first few steps. Once you shoot the balls out of the dragon's mouth, you then need to go to the Buddha room and get explosive kills. Once this is done, you need to shoot a pack-a-punch ballistic knife called the cross refibrillator and shoot it at the Buddha on the wall. Once you hear Maxis say you have done what you needed, you need to place the trample steams on the dragon symbols and grab the balls from the statues in the spawn room and place them on the trample steam. They will basically bounce from trample steam to trample steam. It's actually kind of cool. Then repeat the last step with the tower, and then you are done. Overall, both sides of Easter eggs, if done effectively, can be completed in less than 20 minutes. Since they are so short and easy, I give them a 3 out of 5. There's an Easter egg song called We All Fall Down, which was made by Clark S. Nova. It is activated by activating 3 teddy bears located around the map. One of them is in the Buddha room, one of them is located in the power room, and the last and final one is next to the escalator on a broken shelf underneath the spawn room. This song is pretty good, but since it isn't as good as a Kevin Sherwood song in my opinion, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I've been playing it as the background music for the entire video. There's not much storyline in the Chronorium about Dire Eyes because all of it really takes place before transit, and then from transit Richtofen teleports them all to Dire Eyes. Here's what the Chronorium says. October 22nd, 2035. Dire Eyes. Still hoping to regain control, Richtofen teleports Victus to Province 22, where he demands that Stuhlinger activate the second polarization device for him. Once again, the crew sides with Maxis. The voices cease for some time, leaving Victus to wander the Earth. So basically, Victus wanders the Earth from October 22nd all the way until December 31st when they get to Buried. So they're wandering the Earth for a very long time. Now, overall, if you guys are wondering about voices when you play as Stuhlinger, since he was part of the Flesh, which was a group of humans that ate flesh from zombies, that's the only reason he can hear that and also hear Richtofen in his head. So since there isn't really much of a story, I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's kind of weak overall. Dire Eyes does not have a lot of replayability because it is the same thing every game. If you're going for high rounds, you can mix up what you're doing, but players will always want to use the Liquefier. That is the main reason why people play the map. Once you've gotten your fill of the map and have all the perks, it's just the same thing over and over every game. Also, having the ability to have points in the bank makes the setup easier and overall just makes the map much easier to play. If you enjoy going for high rounds and challenging yourself, it can be a little difficult, but other than that, it just isn't for me. I give that a 3 out of 5. Although Dire Eyes is a very vertical map, it does still have a fairly decent flow. To move around the map, you essentially still go around in a circle while traversing up and down on the different levels of the map. The main issue with the flow, however, is the fact that you need to rely on elevators, which are not easy to use because they are completely RNG based. Having to sit around sometimes for over 2 minutes for a freaking elevator to lower so that you can ride it is very irritating. For that, I give it a 3 out of 5. Dire Eyes is a very original map. Traversing through skyscrapers in an apocalyptic China is very cool. It's something that we had never seen and still have not seen again yet. Treyarch has always been good at creating original and unique maps, and Dire Eyes is not an exception. For that, I give Dire Eyes a 5 out of 5 for originality. Dire Eyes has some very impressive world records. For high rounds, the record is round 131 by Tidy Barbecue. As far as Easter egg speedruns go, the record for the Richtofen side is 4 minutes and 44 seconds, and the record for the Maxis side is 8 minutes and 4 seconds. These times are very fast and the fastest in all of Zombies history for the Richtofen side. The first room world record is around 61, which is insane in itself because of how small the first room is. Although you can get perks from the special rounds, the only weapon in the first room is the Olympia. I give the records a 5 out of 5 because they are still competitive for high rounds and speedruns. There's currently no remakes of Die Rise, but many expect it to be part of a Zombies Chronicles 2 if it actually ends up releasing. I'm excluding it from the entire voting and score just because there is obviously no remake. The most common camping spot on Die Rise is inside of the elevator shaft with the liquefier because the zombies slide off over and over and it is easy to go through rounds fast. Players can also camp on top of one of the tipped over pillars in the Buddha room, and the last and final main spot is underneath the pylon. You can place a trample steam facing the window so it kills all the zombies coming out of there, and just face the front as they pour down from the ramp, up the stairs, and out of the elevators to the left. The camping spots are actually really good, so I give them a 5 out of 5 for Die Rise. There are a few pretty good training spots on Die Rise as well. You can train very easily in the Buddha room with no problems. You can train around underneath the pylon because there's plenty of room. The last spot I have seen people use for training is in the room when you jump across from the build table for the trample steam to the other side. I give training spots a 4 out of 5 for Die Rise. Die Rise is an alright map to play co-op. If you're doing the Easter egg, it can be fun, but if you're not, since there's only one liquefier, it can be boring for the other players who don't have one. Since the Easter egg is only co-op, it gives you a reason to play. You can always go for higher rounds with friends, however, and if you're playing with friends and not in a public match, it can be very, very enjoyable. I give co-op a 3 out of 5 overall. Solo is probably the best for Die Rise, as like I stated, the only wonder weapon is the liquefier. It is much easier to control the zombie spawns on the map if you stick with solo. That way you don't need to worry about cross training with randoms and getting trolled by someone shooting the liquefier near the edge of the map. Solo can be pretty fun camping, so I give it a 4 out of 5 as well. Let's tally up the totals and see where Die Rise ends up. We're not able to include all 20 categories because I excluded the remake section and the trap section because there has not been a remake yet and there are no traps. Out of the possible 90 points, we got a total of 67. 67 divided by 90 equals 0.7444 points, rounded down to 74%. I think this grade is right where I expected Die Rise because it's widely regarded as one of the worst maps in Zombies history, so I'm not surprised it came out as the fourth lowest grade above Nacht, Varrock, Shinonuma, and it actually tied with Transit as well, which is kind of crazy because those are like considered to be the worst two maps by most people. Although I don't absolutely hate Die Rise, I think that this was the best possible grade I could give it, taking all of these different things into consideration. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will try to upload these as often as I can, but they do take a long time to make. With the quiz happening every Sunday, it can get a little intense, and sometimes I just get completely spaced out and I cannot edit for like 2 days straight because it takes so long to make these videos. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you guys want to submit your clips for the clips of the week, it'll be the top link in the description. Hope to get some awesome clips so I can showcase you guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.